FM, your campus weather service forecast, sponsored by Penn State Student Affairs. Student Affairs is proud to support the Lion and many other essential student services. Log on to studentaffairs.psu.edu and discover Penn State Student Affairs.
This is your campus weather service forecast brought to you by Penn State Student Affairs. Today we have a high of 41, low of 24 with some clouds. Tomorrow we have a high of 46, low of 27. It's going to be a little sunny. Wednesday we're going to have a high of 52, low of 37. On Thursday we're going to have some showers with a high of 49, low of 33. Friday we're going to have a high of 45, low of 28 with some clouds. Saturday, the weekend's going to get a little bit warmer. We're going to have a high of 52, low of 33. Sunday, it's going to tick up even more with a high of 60 with a low of 39. And 1 week from today, Monday, March 25th, we're going to have a high of 61, low of 40. So State College is getting some warmth back in. That was your campus weather service forecast brought to you by Penn State Student Affairs. Check them out online at studentaffairs.psu.edu to see your student activity fee live in action. You're listening to the Shmeedock and Bean Show, where we talk about all four major sports in North America, as well as some college basketball and college football, as well as pretty much anything else we want to talk about on this show. The views and opinions expressed on this program are solely of those producing it and or the people appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the Lion 90.7 FM, its staff, sponsors, or the Pennsylvania State University. For details and a copy of the transcript of today's broadcast, email officers@thelion.fm or write to the Lion 90.7 FM 125 Hub Robeson Center, University Park, PA 16802.
To the Lion 90.7 FM, WKPS State College.
All right, welcome to the Shmeedock and Bean Show. I am your host, Clayton Beans Tissa, and with me is my co-host, Austin Shmeedock Smith. Austin, how's your week been?
I've had a great week, actually. Not too much work going on. Had a fun weekend.
Anything particularly interesting happened on this past weekend?
Actually, yes. I turned 21 on Saturday, 2 days ago, and had a great time. Went out to the bars with my friends.
Yeah. Actually, it was a good time. Good time this weekend, Austin. You excited for this upcoming semester then?
Of course. Favorite time of the year, March. March Madness is right upon us.
Oh, yeah. Selection Sunday was yesterday. We had some pretty interesting finales to some of the conference tournaments, as well as Austin's favorite team going down a pretty heartbreaking loss.
I know. Michigan, if you're a Michigan fan out there, I feel for you. Actually, it did end up working out for Michigan in the NCAA tournament, because if they had won the Big Ten tournament, they would have been in Duke's region of the bracket. So now that we're in Gonzaga's, I'm low-key actually happy that happened, because...
So they should have to wait longer to lose to Duke is pretty much what you're telling me.
Hey, who says Duke's making the Final Four?
That is true. So on today's episode of the Shmeedock and Beans Show, we're going to actually make our own Shmeedock and Beans bracket.
Oh, yeah.
And then anytime after that, we're probably going to talk about some NBA and NFL news. So, Austin, how excited are you to make this bracket?
I am very excited. Every year I always make – I'd say I make at least 3 or 4 brackets every year, kind of try to change up each one to ensure, like, I guess, success in each different one, because like last year, so many people had Virginia winning and they lost in the first round, and that messed up everyone's bracket. So I like to mix and match and maybe have
I throw in some upsets every now and then.
Of course, yeah. Can't if you're going chalk and just picking the higher seed every time.
It's not going to be good.
It's not working out.
No. I actually have some high hopes for our bracket. We got two minds, meshing together. We're gonna, dig deep. Get straight to the facts.
Of course.
Go deep in the analytics. And you know what? I think this is going to be the year. I think this is going to be the perfect bracket.
Yeah? Is it going to be you or me? Or both?
Both.
All right, let's do it.
We're going to make this happen. All right, so we're going to start in everybody's favorite region, I think, is going to be the East. 'Cause it has Duke.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much the only reason why half of America is probably going to watch this NCAA tournament.
Well, yeah, I don't know about that, but I mean, just throwing it out there, Zion Williamson is going to be a Knick, so might as well watch him while he's in college while you can.
Yeah, it's funny. So I think it's safe to say that whoever wins that playing game is just playing to get smacked by Duke in the first round.
Yeah, I think it'd be, even though UMBC beat Virginia last year for the first ever 16-over-1 upset, you can't go against Duke here. I don't think you can go against any of the 16 seeds, so I'm just going to advance all 4 of them right off the bat.
Yeah. Ooh, little quick on the trigger actually to advance Virginia. You don't think their past is going to haunt them?
I mean, if they lose to a 16 seed 2 years in a row, I will wear a Sixers jersey on this show. That's how confident I am they're not going to lose.
If Virginia loses to a 16th seed for a second straight year, what do you do for that program? Like,
I don't know. I mean, they only lost 2 games the entire regular season, both to Duke, and they're so stellar defensively. Have so many upperclassmen that have been so successful. I can't imagine they're going to do this. They're going to lose again. I mean, Gardner Webb's not terrible. I mean, they played competitively against the likes of VCU and Furman, but they also lost to Virginia Tech by 30. So,
yeah,
I don't know. I think that's the least of our concerns right now for these brackets.
I'd agree with you. All right, so let's go to Michigan State versus Bradley. Again, I feel like that's just an easy.
Well, Bradley actually beat Penn State this year, and I know Penn State's not that good, but
yeah, I don't really see that as a pretty convincing win in my mind.
Okay, yeah, you got me there. Okay, they've won 12 of their last 16 games going into the tournament, and yeah, you're right. I can't do it. Michigan State's on a roll. They just won the Big Ten championship. Let's advance the Spartans.
All right, and continuing with that, we got just flip-flopping sides of the Eastern region. We got VCU and UCF. This one's actually, I think, going to be a tough one for me.
Yeah, 8-9's always a toss-up. It's like literally history says it's truly a 50-50 proposition. 8 and 9 seeds have split their last 136 meetings since 1985.
I think some of the notable games we have. What I try to do is I try to compare if teams played the same team, kind of like what the result was.
Okay.
And so we got UCF going 1-for-1 against Temple, and then VCU actually beating Temple by 6. So in that case, I kind of that swayed me towards VCU, but then again they have a loss to St. John's on their record, and they played Virginia pretty competitively in Virginia, only losing by 8. So even though that's a loss, I kind of really don't knock them for that. I kind of think that kind of bolsters their resume a little bit.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there. I think that VCU plays in a more competitive conference than UCF, and UCF does have a win against Houston, who's one of the better teams in the country. I think they're a 3 seed right now. But if I'm going to pick, I'm going to go with VCU.
You're going to go VCU?
I'm going to go VCU.
That's where I think I'd go.
Okay, let's do it.
All right, and then next we have Louisville versus Minnesota. As a Big Ten fan, obviously I'm sure you've seen it too. We've kind of watched Minnesota a little bit when they play Penn State. So I feel like I know a little bit about Minnesota. Louisville, kind of after the Rick Pitino era.
Yeah, actually this is, for those that don't know, Louisville and Minnesota, this is a matchup of the Patinos. Coach, or I guess not Pitino anymore, but Richard Pitino and Rick Pitino's former team. So I am going to go. This is a tough one. 7-10s are always a tough one to pick, but
I mean, Louisville's got a 4-point win against Michigan State. But then again, they did go 1-2 against North Carolina.
Yeah, I'm going to go Louisville. It's crazy because they have 13 losses this year, but they've beaten some good teams. They've beaten UNC. They've beaten Michigan State. Almost beat Duke. If it weren't for that late game collapse at the KFC Center, I'm gonna go Louisville just because of the way Minnesota's playing right now. They barely scored 50 points in their Big Ten tournament loss to Michigan. Did not look very stellar offensively, but they can rebound the ball very well. Jordan Murphy's one of the best rebounders in the nation, so I think they could put up a good fight. But for now, I'm gonna go Louisville.
Okay. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Going back, we got Mississippi State going against Liberty. 5 seed versus 12 seed. Again, history is really pointing towards that 5 seed, and I really don't see any reason to go against that. But what's your take?
Okay, I'll be honest. Mississippi State was in the NIT last year, and Penn State actually played them and beat them. And they've really improved. They're 5 seed right now, like you said, but this might be an upset. Liberty's very effective, especially in the half court. They're making 57% of their shots, 37% on threes. The 12-5 is historically something that if you're picking your bracket, you want to pick at least one of, because
one big upset from this.
At least 112 over a 5. I think I'm not going to go with this one just because there's some other 12-5s I am going to pick.
I'm liking the Wisconsin-Oregon matchup a lot better.
I agree. We'll get to that in a minute. But for right now, I'm going to go with Mississippi State and Quindery Witherspoon, their star player. What a name.
Quindery Witherspoon.
Yeah, or Weatherspoon. I believe that's how I'm pronouncing it.
I'm a fan of that name, honestly. I'd love to see that on an NBA jersey.
Of course.
All right. Going back, we got LSU going against Yale. I'm going to go LSU. I'm not really too strong on them in this tournament since they did have a pretty bad upset loss in their conference tournament. But I don't see them losing to an Ivy League team, especially how well they've played for the majority of the season.
I agree. But I'm going to go with Yale. I'm going Yale because of a few reasons. First of all, they're led by Ivy League Player of the Year, Mie Oni. I believe I'm pronouncing that right. Yeah, but they shoot very well. I think LSU is going to be a little distracted with their coach, who we're still not sure whether or not he's going to play. I think their players are going to feel a little distracted, and I think Yale's going to bring it. Because the Ivy League has had success in the past in the first round. Now, after that, maybe not as much. But Yale...
You're feeling big upset.
I'm feeling the upset. They did not play. They lost to Duke by 33, but Coach K raved about Mie Oni's performance, said he would actually be a first-round pick in the NBA draft this year. So I think that he's going to be the difference maker, and I think that Yale upsets LSU.
I'm not gonna have to disagree with you on that one, but agree to disagree.
All right.
Next we have Virginia Tech versus St. Louis.
I'm going Virginia Tech here. They do return their best player, Justin Robinson. This is actually a team that Penn State somehow beat this year in basketball, the 4-seed Hokies. But I think that St. Louis was kind of an aberration making the tournament, coming at 23-12 on the year. Not a lot of people really expected them to make it. They thought Davidson would be the ones coming out of that conference. But I'm going to go with the Hokies just because they're very effective free throw shooters. Or field goal shooters, I should say. They beat Duke, Purdue. I'm going to go with Virginia Tech.
Yeah, same. For me, if a team can shoot the 3-ball well and force turnovers, they're going to be pretty deadly to face. And Virginia Tech does both of those things extremely well. So I agree. Virginia Tech's probably going to move on.
Okay.
And the last of the round of 64 matchups, we have Maryland versus a play-in team.
Belmont/Temple.
So this is actually going to be a tough one for me. I am kind of high on Temple. I got some bias, obviously, coming from being
a Philly guy and all.
Coming from Philly. So to me, this is probably going to be one of my upset teams.
Okay.
It's tough because, again, we don't know who the matchup's going to necessarily be, but
yeah, and 11 seeds have won 8 of the last 12 meetings with 6 seeds the past 3 years. So 11-6, if you're out there picking your bracket, I think that's a very wise choice. Not necessarily this matchup, but I'd definitely pick multiple 11-6 matchups if you can.
Yeah, so I think this is going to be one of my upset picks.
Okay, actually, I'm going to agree with you with Maryland losing, but I think that Belmont is going to end up winning that first game.
You think they're the stronger opponent?
I do. They actually got in as an at-large team despite losing their conference championship game to Murray State, who we'll get to in a little bit. But Belmont was by far the best team in that conference for a while, and I think they're going to get it done. If they lose to Temple, I'll have to revisit it. But for right now, I'm going to go with the Belmont Bears.
All right, good lucks. All right, so that finishes up the round of 64 for the Eastern region. We're going to move on to the round of 64 for the South.
South. All right, let's do it.
And again, we had Virginia winning against Gardner-Webb. Again, I think that's a pretty easy pick for most people.
Yep.
Going against the 2 and 15 seed Tennessee versus Colgate. Again, I'm probably going to have to stick with that, just seeding in general, picking Tennessee.
Yeah, I think I agree with you there. Tennessee is a good bet. They've really come on strong here with a lot of upperclassmen. I don't think that they'll let Colgate pull the upset on them. I really don't. I think that Jordan Bone, Admiral Schofield, I think they'll be able to get it done in advance.
Yeah, the Volunteers have been played pretty strong this season, so I think they're going to go far.
Definitely.
Next, we have, again, our favorite 8 and 9 seed matchup. Got Ole Miss versus Oklahoma. I think, again, like we said earlier, 8-9s are pretty tough. They're pretty much just a coin flip in my mind.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Oklahoma here, but it's close. Ole Miss has really been a very up and down team this year. They'll either play really well or play really badly. They've been hobbling into the tournament this year, and for that reason, I think Oklahoma's playing a little bit better at this moment, and I'm going to go with the Sooners.
I think I'm going to have to disagree with you on this one. I think that pretty bad opening loss to West Virginia is going to kind of stick with this team and ride with them into the tournament, and I think Ole Miss is going to come out with that win.
All right. I don't mind that pick either, to be honest. 8-9 is, like we said, a toss-up. So
next we have 7 and 10 matchup: Cincinnati versus Iowa.
I would go with my Big Ten faithful Hawkeyes right here.
I mean, they have had some pretty convincing wins. They did beat Michigan. They did go 1-1 against Michigan, but they had a pretty atrocious loss to Purdue at Purdue by 16.
Yeah, another team that's really not playing that well coming into March. 10th seeded Hawkeyes. I am going to go with the Bearcats just because they have I don't know. This is another tough one for me, but I like their senior, Jaron Cumberland, responsible for 25% of their points this year. So I'm going to go with them. I'm going to go with the Bearcats.
You're going Bearcats? Yeah, I think I'm going to stick with that. Next, we have Wisconsin versus Oregon, 5 seed versus 12 seed. I mentioned this a little bit earlier in the show. I think this is going to be a pretty big upset pick for a lot of people's brackets.
Okay.
And for me, I think Oregon's gonna take it. Big Pac-12, people kind of look down upon a lot this season. People are even questioning if they're going to have a more than one conference team.
Mm-hmm.
But the way that Oregon played in their conference tournament kind of forced the committee to kind of put in 2 teams from this.
Yeah. Well, of course, they did just win the Pac-12 tournament, so they get an automatic bid there. But I gotta give the Ducks some props because they lost Bull, potential lottery pick early on in the year, hasn't been playing at all, and they've really stepped it up winning that Pac-12 tournament. Like you said, the Pac-12 has been very underrepresented this year, but I'm gonna go Wisconsin just because statistically, when Wisconsin makes the tournament, they always do well. At least make it to the Sweet 16. I believe they made it to this third round both of their last 2 times in March. So I'm going to go with the Badgers here just because of their defense.
I respect that pick. Big Ten basketball teams kind of always step up a little bit in the tournament.
I agree.
All right. Austin, I want your take on this Purdue-Old Dominion matchup.
Okay, so before the show, I was really struggling. To pick this one because Old Dominion has some good signature wins. They beat Syracuse on the road by 6 and beat VCU at home by 10. They're one of the best defensive teams in the nation. They can really rebound the ball. They're led by senior Ahmad Caver. And honestly, Purdue has not necessarily impressed me a lot. Carson Edwards is very erratic. He'll either have 35 points on 12 for 20 shooting, or he'll go 2 for 19, and really he's their only big source of offense outside of maybe Ryan Klein. So I am going to go with another 14-3 upset, I think, and I'm going to go Old Dominion Monarchs.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is going to be a really interesting bracket for you, Austin.
I know. And like I said, I'm going to make multiple brackets and have to revisit this when I do a little bit more research with Selection Sunday just happening yesterday. But for right now, I'm going to go with Old Dominion.
I think for me, I'm going to have to stick with Purdue.
Okay.
but I respect it. Next, we got K-State versus UC Irving, 4 seed versus the 13.
This one, okay, so K-State I think is going to come out a little angry just because they did win a share of the Big 12 title this year, but after losing to Loyola Chicago in the Elite Eight in 2018, I think they're going to come out with a vengeance, and with a healthy Dean Wade this year, I think the Wildcats pick up the W against UC Irvine.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. So I'm going to keep note, though, little fun seeding facts. 4 seeds have lost to at least one 13 seed in 24 of the last 34 years. So something to keep in mind as we move further into this bracket.
Okay.
But yeah, I think K-State's going to be a pretty big pick right here.
Mm-hmm.
And next, and we also talked about this earlier in the show, 6 seed Villanova going against 11 seed St. Mary's. Again, my biases might kind of roll with me on this one. But Villanova, to me, is always a strong tournament team. Obviously, they won the national championship just only a few years back. So I think that Jay Wright's team is going to kind of motivate this team, not going to have them be one and done.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to agree with you there. I think that Villanova lost a lot of production to the NBA over the past 2 years. So a lot of people have kind of been written them off, especially after a 27-point loss to Michigan at home and a loss to Furman. But I think Jay Wright's going to have them ready, despite St. Mary's having a great run in their conference tournament and getting that automatic bid, beating Gonzaga. But I'm not going to go against Jay Wright. He's won 2 championships in the past, 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna run with the Wildcats.
All right, good. And that'll end the round of 64 for the Southern region. We're going to move on to the round of 64 for the West. And I really don't think this winner of the playing game is going to matter against this Gonzaga team. They've been one of the most fun teams to watch on offense with a breakout star, Rui Hachimura, who I am so excited for him to transition to the NBA. I think he's going to be a great player.
I do too. I do think that he'll have a very successful NBA career. Gonzaga's actually have been known for kind of producing lottery picks in the NBA. Examples are Zach Collins and Kelly Olynyk in the past. But I'm gonna have to go with Prairie View A&M here.
I hate Kelly Olynyk.
No, I'm kidding. I'm not going Prairie View A&M. I'm going Gonzaga. There's no way I'd go with any 16 seed, like I said. Let's roll Zags.
Good looks. Next, we have your hometown fan. Not hometown, but your...
Yeah, I'm a little biased on this one, too.
But I don't think your bias is really going to play too much into this matchup. Michigan versus Montana, 12 seed versus 15, or 2 seed versus 15.
Mm-hmm.
I think Michigan's going to win this handedly. Even though they came off a loss to Michigan State in the Big Ten championship, I still think they're going to be a tough tournament team this season and will probably win handedly in this first round.
Mm-hmm. This is actually a rematch of last year's first-round matchup, Michigan versus Montana. And Montana gave the Wolverines a little bit of a fight early on before Michigan ultimately pulled out the W. I like Michigan here, but after that, I'm a little worried just because of their offensive inconsistencies. They lost a good amount of production from last year with Muhammad Ali Abdur-Rahman and Mo Wagner, but I'm going to get right now, I'm staying with the Wolverines.
Good looks. Next, back to our favorite matchup. We got 8 seed Syracuse versus 9 seed Baylor. I actually think this is one of the easier 8-9 matchups to pick.
I do too.
I think Syracuse is probably going to be the winner in this one, and I think most people are going to roll with the orange.
Yeah, I like the 2-3 zone defense is always really tough come March. Syracuse, even though they've been barely squeaked into the tournament a couple of their past appearances, they've always made a run to at least a Sweet 16, similar to Wisconsin. So I'm going to roll with the orange right now and might even pick them to beat Gonzaga. We'll see.
It's going to be interesting. Stay tuned to find out where Austin goes with that. Next, we have Nevada, Florida, 7 seed versus 10 seed.
I know you're a big Nevada guy. I know, Beans, right?
I just love their logo. It just looks sick.
It does look pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. The Wolfpack.
And as statistics show, if you pick the cooler mascot, you're bound to win at least one bracket.
Yeah. There's many different types of, many different ways to pick these kinds of brackets, and really, it's just if you're out there picking your bracket, really just do whatever you want to do. Don't listen to the others, because this basically just comes down to luck. If you try to, no matter how much research you do, maybe it'll help you a little bit, but there's always going to be that one or two teams that bust your bracket. So
Bracket busters.
bracket busters.
One of my favorite words this time of the year.
I know.
Just rolls off the tongue.
I always save up all my absences in my classes so that I can just chill and sit in my room watching March Madness. So
Eating cookies.
yes, eating just junk food on junk food.
But so what's your pick for this one?
I'm going. Florida's looked good in the SEC tournament. They did beat LSU, almost beat Auburn. Nevada, on the other hand, has struggled. I'm gonna go Florida.
Yeah, I
I'm
think I'm
gonna
about
go
to
Florida.
roll Florida as well. We haven't picked any 10 seeds upsets to 7. And while 7 seeds do win 62% of the matchups, roughly, it's bound to happen at least once, I think, this year. So I think Florida's a pretty solid pick.
All right.
Next, one of probably the more anticipated matchups of the first round, we got Murray State versus Marquette. This features two of the top scorers in Division I this season. So I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, this is the toughest first round matchup, I think, to pick of any. Just because before the tournament, a few shows ago, I raved about Marcus Howard. I thought Marquette was a potential Final Four team, but I also said that Murray State was a potential giant killer with John Moran at the helm.
Future Nick in my mind.
Could be a future Nick. I wouldn't be mad, honestly. But I'm going to go with Murray State because I love John Morant, and Marquette has been very suspect in their conference in recent memory. They've kind of like hobbled into March Madness, losing their past 3 games. If Marcus Howard can get going shooting, it might be a different story, but I think that Murray State and John Morant can lock him down, and outside of that, they don't have a lot of pure scoring options besides the 2 Hausers. So I'm going to go Murray State.
Yeah, I'm rolling Murray State too. I think Bogues might be a little upset that we're picking against Marquette.
I know. I love Marquette, man. I think they could make some noise, but
I just think it's a tough one for them if they were going against a lot of different teams.
yeah, anybody else I would have picked them, but Murray State, popular upset pick in my mind.
Yeah. Next, we got Texas Tech and North Kentucky. This one, I think, to me, on paper, most people are going to roll with Texas Tech. I think this could be a low-key sleeper for some people.
Okay.
I'm not going to go against Texas Tech, but I'm not counting out in the realm of possibilities.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Texas Tech here. Mom, if you're watching, I know this is your alma mater, so I'm going to roll with the Red Raiders. Jarrett Culver, potential top 5 pick in the draft this year, I think. So I'm going to go with the Big 12.
Good looks. Next, we got a matchup, 4-seed Florida State going against 13-seed Vermont. Even though Florida State did lose in the ACC championship to Duke, I think they played pretty well. They have a lot of very interesting players on their team, as we discussed while we were actually watching it.
They've got some crazy names on those teams. I think it was Mafando Cabangeli is their 6th man. They've got some players though. Like
they got some bigs who can really slam the ball down. Mm-hmm. It was a pretty good matchup against that Duke team for probably the majority of that game, actually.
Yeah, but Vermont's no joke. Like I'm considering picking Vermont here. Like they got American East Player of the Year Anthony Lamb, 21 points per game. They did give Kansas a run, even though it says they lost by 16 on the stat sheet. They played them very tough in Lawrence for a large part of that game, and only lost to Louisville on the road by 8 too. So I would not be surprised if Vermont won here.
I wouldn't either. Like I said earlier, if a team can limit their turnovers while also kind of forcing them on the other side of the court, you really can't count them out in any instance, and that's kind of what Vermont does pretty well. So
I'm gonna roll with the Seminoles.
Yeah.
Just because of how well they've played in the ACC tournament, returned a lot of production from their Elite 8 team a season ago, and yeah, Florida State.
All right. And finally, to finish out this region, we got 6-seed Buffalo playing against a play-in team. What's that? Arizona State and St. John's.
St. John's.
For some reason, and I have no reason to have this affiliation, I always see myself as a St. John's fan.
Okay.
for some strange and pretty unrelated reason. And also, I have some hatred against Buffalo.
Why is that?
Austin knows why I hate Buffalo.
Me and Beans took a nice trip to Buffalo our freshman year that didn't go exactly according to plan.
So that the Buffalo hatred's going to be in my heart. So just for the fun of it, honestly, I think I'm going to go with whoever wins this play-in matchup.
Okay. All right. No, it doesn't matter who it is.
Doesn't matter who it is.
Okay.
Just not Buffalo.
All right. I'm going to go Buffalo, even though you're right. I do have a little hatred towards Buffalo. I think they're going to ride their momentum from last year, beating Arizona in the first round. They beat Syracuse this year. They did lose to Marquette, but they're 31-3 on the year, 16-2 in the conference. Can really score the ball. Was behind C.J. Massenberg. I'm going to go Buffalo just because Arizona State, not convinced in the Pac-12. St. John's, really struggling towards the end of the year. I'm rolling with the Bulls.
Roll Bulls.
Running with the Bulls.
And that's going to close out the Western region. We're going to move to the Midwest, and we're going to do the round of 16 and then take a quick break. So we have, again, North Carolina beating Iona, 1C versus 16. Not much to talk about there. On the other side, we got number 2 Kentucky versus Abilene Christian. Am I pronouncing that right?
Yep, you are.
All right. Again, I'm just going to roll with Kentucky. I really don't see them losing the first round. I think they're going to go pretty far in this tournament.
I'd agree with you there. Kentucky, I think Coach Calipari will have them ready. Abilene Christian is their first time in the NCAA tournament since this transitioning from Division II. They lost by 34 to Texas Tech. I don't think they pull the upset.
Yeah. All right. Next, we got 8 seed Utah State versus 9 seed Washington. We talked about the Pac-12 earlier. This was Washington was a at-large team.
Yes, they were.
So, when they lose in the Pac-12 tournament?
They lost in the championship to Oregon.
Okay, yeah, that's right. I also have some disdain for Washington. Sadly, former Sixer great Markelle Fultz came out of this historic program and did very little for my franchise. So I have some disdain for Washington, and I think solely based on that, I'm going to roll with Utah State.
Okay. So Washington has Matisse Thybulle, who is probably the best defender in the entire nation, leading the nation in steals and 2.3 blocks per game.
3.5 steals per game is an absurd number.
I know. And this is literally the guy replacing Markelle Fultz. Keep in mind, this is the guy waiting in the wings. Washington has some players.
They do. They got some guys who can ball.
But I'm going Utah State. I think that this could be a team that goes far in the tournament. Sam Merrill averaging 21 a game. I'm going with the Aggies.
Okay. Glad we agreed on that. Next, we got 7 seed Wofford versus Wofford.
Wofford.
Yeah, a dog woofs. They don't waff.
There's only one O.
But they don't waff. They woof.
That's not even. All right, whatever. All right, let's just keep going.
Wofford going against Seton Hall. Wofford has played surprisingly well this season for me. I've followed college basketball on and off, and they were never really on my radar until this year, I think, as well as with most of America. So it was interesting to see them play extremely well this season, and I'm happy that they're a 7 seed in this tournament. I do think that it's going to be an upset, though, and I think I have to roll with Seton Hall.
Okay, I don't mind that. I was actually high on Seton Hall coming into this tournament, but I do really like Wofford. Fletcher McGee about to break the Division I record for career threes, so I'm gonna go with Wofford. I think that McGee could be kind of the Steph Curry in that with that Davidson run in 2008. I think he could kind of be that guy. So I'm gonna go with Wofford.
Okay. Next we have 5 seed Auburn versus 12 seed New Mexico State. Ooh.
The
5-12 always scares me.
This was a tough one. Auburn just won the SEC championship, the tournament championship, I should say. They're coming in on a high note. New Mexico State's no joke, though, either. Only lost by 3 to Kansas, 15 to St. Mary's. This is tough. What are you leaning towards?
It's tough for me. New Mexico State is one of the leading teams in terms of offensive rebounds. So, as you know, second chance points can really turn the tide of a game. But this Auburn team, I feel like they're pretty good. They have 2 solid wins against Tennessee, which is a pretty big team in this tournament. Only lost by 6 to Duke. So even though New Mexico State could play an upset, in other brackets I might actually roll with them. But in this one, I think I'm going to have to stick with Auburn.
I'm going to stick with Auburn, too. It's my grandma's alma mater. Honey, if you're listening, I'm going with your Tigers.
You're rolling favorites on this one, Austin.
Yeah, got to.
Next, we have 3 seed Houston going against 14th seed Georgia State. This seems like a pretty large disparity in terms of BPI rank. Houston is ranked 12th in the nation, and Georgia State is 103. I think I'm going to roll with Houston on this one. I don't see the upset happening.
I'm gonna go Houston, but
You seem a little distraught
barely.
with that one.
Yeah, Georgia State can really shoot the 3, and that's a big thing that can make upsets happen in March. We all know that.
You get hot from behind the arc. One thing leads to another.
Mm-hmm.
You got a bunch of crying fans in Houston.
I'm gonna go Houston, but not convincingly. Very close game, I
Yep.
think.
And finish up the last 2 matchups. We got 4 seed Kansas versus 13 seed Northeastern.
I'm gonna go Kansas just because everyone's doubting them right now. This is the first time in 14 years they haven't won the Big 12. And yeah, I'm gonna go with Kansas. Roll
Yeah.
Jayhawks.
Even though they don't have Lagerald Vick, I think Dedrick Lawson, who is just walking double-double, is going to take them pretty far in this tournament. So I think they're going to no shot they lose in this first round matchup.
All right.
And last but not least, we have Iowa State versus the Ohio State. 6 seed versus 11 seed.
Iowa State in a blowout.
Iowa State in a blowout? It's a pretty big prediction.
Not a fan of Ohio State, not just because I go here.
What's the over-under?
That's a good question. I actually do not know. But Iowa State's rolling. They just won the Big 12 tournament over Kansas. I'm going with the Cyclones.
All right. Just because, it's Penn State, I feel I would be doing a disservice to my own campus. If I picked Ohio State, I'm going to have to roll with Iowa State as well. All right, that's going to finish out the round of 64 for all 4 regions. We're going to take a short break. Do not leave, as you will hear Austin and I, pick our winner. So I'm pretty interested to see who these final 4 matchups are going to be.
All right.
All right, see you.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Motown Morning, 6 to 9, all the time. All right. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
We'll get you clown walking
And jive talking. Oh, you said it, brother. I don't need a shovel to dig that Motown.
Soulsville, baby. Every morning from 6 to 9, taking you from Soulsville to Hitsville, right back to Happy Valley. Only on the Lion, 90.7 FM.
There's one thing you can never have sex without.
It's not something you buy.
Or something you take.
In fact, there's only one way to get it.
It has to be given to you, freely.
It's consent.
Because sex without it isn't sex.
It's rape. Consent.
If you don't get it, you don't get it. It's on us to stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
Hi, I'm Austin Smith. Do you want to listen to 2 guys from Philly and New York complain about sports for an hour? Tune in to the Shmeedock and Bean Show on Mondays from 2 to 3 p.m. live on the Lion 90.7 FM.
April is National Alcohol Awareness Month. Penn State offers Screen You Alcohol, a brief, anonymous online screening tool that is free for all students. Screen You Alcohol will give you personalized feedback and insight into your alcohol-related behaviors. Screen You Alcohol offers tips to keep you and your friends safe. The tool includes information about helpful campus, community, and national resources for prevention, support, treatment, and/or recovery. You can access Screen U alcohol at studentaffairs.psu.edu/health-wellness/Screen U.
This is Justin Dorsey, and you're listening to the Lion 90.7 WKPS State College.
All right, and welcome back to the Shmeedock and Beans show. If you missed the first 40 minutes of our show, we discussed the round of 64 matchups for this upcoming NCAA tournament. As the forecast looks, we're probably not going to get to be talking about NBA or NFL today, so we're going to try to run through the rest of this bracket.
All right, let's start with the East. I got Duke VCU. Do you have UCF or do you have VCU?
I have VCU, but I don't think it really matters.
I don't either. I'm going Duke. Zion Williamson is on that team, so I'm going to pick him.
Good choice. We got next. We got Michigan State and Louisville. How you feeling? Can you really pick Michigan State even though they just trounced the Wolverines?
I am going to go. Yeah, I'm going to go Michigan State. I think they've got the more complete team. I think their forward Kyle Ahrens got injured. I think they're playing for him in kind of a Kevin Ware type scenario with Louisville. So I think I'm going to go with the Spartans.
Any possibility for an upset?
Yeah, I think so for sure. I wouldn't be surprised if Louisville upset them. Big Ten teams have not necessarily done that well in the tournament in the past, or at least I shouldn't say that, but made as big of runs as people has expected. And Michigan State's lost early multiple times, so we'll see.
Yep. Next, we got 5 seed versus 4 seed, Mississippi State versus Virginia Tech. I think I'm going to go with Tech on this one.
You're not rolling with Quindery Weatherspoon?
Quindery Weatherspoon's name can only get him so far in my bracket predictions. So,
if Quindery Weatherspoon ends up like winning the region for Mississippi State, I'm gonna laugh so hard. But yeah, I'm gonna go Virginia Tech.
Actually, I hadn't read the team summary until now, but I love how the first thing that they have to say about Mississippi State is how Quindery Weatherspoon's name is fun to say.
Yeah.
Nothing about his game. It's like, his name is fun to say. Also, he's a good player to watch.
Yeah.
All right, but yeah, Tech's going to advance in my mind. You got that?
I got Tech. I got Justin Robinson leading the charge.
All right. I think this is going to be a tough one for me. I don't think either Bethel or Temple is going to upset LSU.
I got Yale. I don't have LSU.
Oh, yeah.
But
that's right. Oh, so you have a pretty interesting matchup then.
I'm assuming this is going to be Belmont.
Belmont. It's not Bethel. Belmont.
Yeah, Belmont. I'm going to go Yale.
You're going to go Yale?
I'm going Yale Sweet 16.
All right, you know what? I just switched my prediction. And again, this is totally based off of who actually wins this game. I'm going Temple.
Okay. All right.
And that does it for the Eastern region. We're going to move on to the South. First matchup is Virginia versus Ole Miss, 1 seed versus 8. Do you see Virginia,
I got Oklahoma, but I'm going to go with Virginia. Regardless, I think they're going to play angry after losing, like I said last year early on. Virginia to the Sweet 16.
All right. And next we got, do you have Tennessee, Cincinnati?
Yes, I do. And I'm going to go Tennessee.
Yep, same. Volunteers they're not volunteering to lose out this season.
Yeah, that's a good one. But yeah, Cincinnati always never really advances far, so I'm going with the Volunteers.
Good looks. For me, I got 12 seed Oregon versus 4 seed K-State. Like we were talking earlier, I don't think the Pac-12 is too strong, and I think K-State's really going to show them here. I don't really see an upset happening. How about you?
I have Wisconsin, so I'm going to keep going with Wisconsin.
Roll
Kansas
Badgers.
State, yeah, got to go with the Badgers. They always do well in March Madness. I don't think they're going to break that trend, so Badgers to face Virginia.
All right. And next I have Nova versus Purdue. Again, I feel like I need some upsets in here, so I think I'm going to have to roll with my hometown and go with Nova.
I have Villanova and Old Dominion, and I'm going Old Dominion.
Wow, any Old Dominion fans out there? You got Austin in your corner at least.
I really just do not know enough about Old Dominion to pick them, but Villanova has been very suspect for a lot part of this year, and I think that's going to continue. I think they're going to get knocked out. So Old Dominion versus Tennessee. I got 2 14 seeds in my Sweet 16 so far.
Austin, if you actually have a perfect bracket by this point, I'll be purely shocked, and I'll buy you a lot of Girl Scout cookies.
Yes, I love my Girl Scout cookies. All right.
Moving on to the West, I have Gonzaga versus Syracuse. I think you have that as well.
I do.
And again, I think this Zags team is one of the more deadly teams in this tournament. Obviously, being a number 1 seed, they've proven that so far. But I think, again, Rui Hachimura is going to really show up in this tournament. I think he's going to be one of the MVPs in terms of just overall play. So I think they're going to roll against the Qs. Big Orange is going down.
That's some good logic. Honestly, I follow everything you're saying, and for that reason, I'm picking Syracuse.
Just gotta
2-3 zone, I think, gets in Gonzaga's head. They did not play very well offensively at all against St. Mary's, and I think that's going to provide a blueprint for the Orange. So I'm going to go with Syracuse.
All right, so we got big upset happening right here.
First 1 seed going down.
Next, we got I have Michigan State and Florida, or not Michigan State, Michigan and Florida. Is that what you have?
I do. I'm going to go with Michigan in a rematch of the 2018 Peach Bowl in football. I think, I'm going to go Michigan. I think that their defense carries them to the Sweet 16.
Yeah, I think Michigan's going to win as well. I don't see an upset happening here. Again, going back to one of my favorite teams in this year's tournament, Murray State against Florida State. I'm rolling with Ja.
Okay.
I'm rolling Ja. I think it's going to happen. Florida State, even though they have played extremely well this season, possibly also could have won the ACC tournament. I just don't think that John Morant's going to go down lightly. I could see him dropping. Austin, I'm actually making a big prediction right here. If this matchup, actually comes to fruition, John Morant's going to drop a 30-point triple-double.
Oh, okay. I like that. This is another game that I'm really struggling to pick. I'm gonna go. Oh my God, this is killing me. I want to go John Morant so badly.
You just gotta do it.
Should I do it? But Florida State's been doing so well. All right, yep, let's do it. Murray State.
Roll State.
Roll State.
To finish out the Western region, we have a play-in team. Could be St. John's, could be Arizona State versus Texas Tech.
I got Buffalo and Texas Tech, but I think that Texas Tech pulls this one out again. Jarrett Culver is my guy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. I'll take your advice on that one. I'm going to roll Tech.
All right.
All right. And finishing off, we have the Midwest. We got UNC versus Utah State. I don't think UNC is going to go down to a Utah State team. I think you might have. Do you have Utah State too?
I have Utah State, but I'm going North Carolina.
Yep.
I really like them from the ACC. Luke May, senior, leading the charge.
Ooh.
Going with the Tar Heels.
I'm feeling pretty bad about my bracket. Actually, I got a lot of 1 seeds advancing.
Okay.
Possible upsets.
It's not bad though. As long as you don't have them all in the Final Four, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Next, I have Seton Hall in Kentucky. Next, I think you have Wofford in Kentucky.
Wofford in Kentucky, and I want to pick Wofford, but I'm going to go Kentucky, just because they're Kentucky, and John Calipari usually has their team ready.
Yeah, I'm going Kentucky as well. Next, I have Auburn and Kansas. Is that what you have as well?
I do have Auburn, Kansas.
Yeah, I think I'm going to roll Auburn. Kansas has been kind of sus this season.
They have been very suspect. You're right. I'm going to go Auburn as well. Kansas, I don't think has quite enough to get it done. Bruce Brown and Auburn.
Yeah. Actually, little seed fact right here: 4 seeds against the 5 seeds win about 70% of the time. So this could be a pretty big upset.
Okay.
Next, we have Iowa State and Houston. I'm gonna have to go. I'm feeling an upset right here. I think I'm gonna go Iowa State.
I'm going Iowa State as well. I really like Mariel Shayok, the transfer from Virginia. I think Iowa State's riding momentum, winning that Big 12, and they advance.
All right, and that's going to do it for the round of 32. Moving on to the Sweet 16. All right, going back up to the top in the East region, we got Duke versus Tech. Again, which team has Zion?
Duke.
Which team is going to win?
Duke.
All right, that's pretty easy. After that, we have I have Temple. I'm just going to say Temple at this point versus Michigan State.
And?
I'm rolling Owls.
You're rolling Owls?
I'm rolling Owls.
All right. I am rolling... I'm rolling...
Don't tell me Yale.
Why not?
Don't tell me Yale.
Dude, I love me some Mie Oni.
All right, you know what?
I'm going Yale.
Let's go Yale.
I'm going Yale.
This is a pretty fun bracket.
Duke Yale rematch of regular season game earlier in the year for me.
All right. And flipping sides, I have Virginia versus K-State. I think this is when Virginia's luck's finally going to run out.
Okay.
And I think K-State is going to win. Also, in my mind, purple is a better color than orange, so that's also factoring into my decision.
All right. I got Virginia and Wisconsin, and I think Wisconsin gives them a really good fight, but I think Virginia pulls it out still.
Oof, okay. Next, I have Nova versus Tennessee.
I got Old Dominion, Tennessee, but I think Tennessee takes it to them. I think that the Monarchs' run is over.
Yeah. In years past, I think Nova definitely would have been my pick handedly, but like you've said earlier in the show, Nova's kind of had an off year. Even though they are still a 6 seed, they kind of start off the year kind of slow, really haven't shown the prowess that they have in years past. So I think I'm going to have to roll with Tennessee.
All right.
Going on to the West, I have Zags against Murray State. And you know what? I don't think luck's run out. I think the dance is going to continue to happen. I think John Morant's going to lead another upset. 12 seed versus 1 seed. Murray State's going to advance.
Okay. I'm going to go with Syracuse.
Continue with the Q's run.
I'm going with the Q's run. Like I said, 2-3 zone. Tyus Battle, Frank Howard. Syracuse has got some guys on that front line. I'm going to go with Syracuse, but it would not surprise me if I think they'll be able to contain John Morant in this one. I think the zone is just going to be too tough.
Interesting. I like the analysis. Next, we got Tech versus Michigan. This is going to hurt you a little bit, Austin, but I think I'm going to roll with Tech.
You're going Tech? Why?
Roll with Tech. Michigan's coming off that loss in the championship, and even though at this point they would have been on a pretty big hot streak, I think that the Red Raiders having that share of the Big 12 shows they're a pretty big team. And like you said earlier in this program, Jarrett Culver.
Okay. I'm going to go with Texas Tech. Yeah, I hate to do it, but their defense is very efficient, that's the strength of their team, and Michigan struggles to score. They really don't have that many good scoring options outside of Ignas Brazdeikis. Jordan Poole and Charles Matthews are incredibly inconsistent. Xavier Simpson can't really shoot the ball from downtown. Really don't have any depth either, and I think Jarrett Culver. To the Elite Eight.
All right. And finally with the Midwest, I got a matchup of UNC and Auburn. I think UNC is pretty tough team this year. Even though they did lose to Duke in that championship, it was a very exciting game, and I think they're going to continue that run, beating Auburn.
Okay. I have also UNC and Auburn, and unfortunately, I'm going to have to go with UNC. I just think better coaching, got the seniors more experience in the tournament. I'm going with Tar Heels.
All right. And last but not least, we have Kentucky versus Iowa State. I think I don't know why today I'm feeling a lot of upsets. So I think Shmeedock with almost averaging 19 points per game and having a very efficient offense. I think the Cyclones are going to be able to pull this one out.
I do too, actually. I like Iowa State here. They've beaten Kansas State twice, Texas Tech, Kansas twice, Ole Miss. They got some ballers on that team. I'm going with Cyclones.
They got some ballers. All right. Wow. My Sweet 16 is looking pretty good.
Oh, I love my Sweet 16.
Yeah.
I got me some Yale. I got me some
Got you some everybody.
Syracuse. Yeah, I got some good guys here.
All right. Moving on. I got Duke and Temple.
Watch Temple not even win their playing game.
So that's hysterical.
You better hope Belmont gets pretty far then.
But I think Temple's luck's going to run out at this point. I think the city of Philadelphia is going to be flying high, but Zion Williamson's going to dunk all over that. And again, Duke's going to advance in my mind.
I have Mie Oni putting up 25 points and barely losing to Duke. I think they're going to have a really good run, but I think Duke ultimately takes the cake, makes the Final Four with Coach K.
All right, I like it. Next, I have K-State and Tennessee. I think that's what you have as well.
I have Virginia and Tennessee.
Virginia and Tennessee. I'm going with the upset. I think K-State's going to beat Tennessee, going off my same logic as last time. Purple beats orange.
Okay. I'm going to go Tennessee just because of the senior-laden Starting lineup, I really like Admiral Schofield and Jordan Bone, like I said earlier. And, yeah, I think Rick Barnes has what it takes to get to the Final Four.
Nice. All right, on the other side, we got the West. I have Murray State versus Tech. Who do you have in this one?
I have Syracuse and Tech.
All right. I think, I don't know about you, but just having a dynamic guard who can really just space the floor, shoot, pass. I think this Murray State team is gonna be pretty big upset to the Red Raiders.
Oh, okay.
Even though this is this actually seed has never happened. A 3 seed facing a 12 seed has never happened in the NCAA tournament.
Oh wow.
So first time for everything, and first time for John Morant to make it to the Final Four.
Okay. I'm going with Texas Tech over Syracuse. The only 2 times that a 3 seed has faced an 8 seed, the 3 seeds have won, 1998 and 2011. I like Barrett Culver in Texas Tech. I think he really improves his draft stock with that win, and I think that Syracuse ultimately just can't shoot themselves out of a slump and can't rely on their defense the entire way.
All right. And finally, I have UNC and Iowa State. I'm going to roll with UNC on this one. I think they're a pretty formidable team. I honestly see they're a top 3 team for me in this tournament, so UNC.
I'm also going to go UNC. I really like them from the ACC. I don't think Iowa State has quite enough to match the star talent of Kobe White and Nazir Little, and I'm going to go with the Tar Heels again.
All right. And so my Final Four is a Duke-Murray State matchup and a Kansas State-UNC matchup. How about you?
Kansas. What do you like about Kansas State?
I like the color purple a lot.
That's it. Okay.
Pretty much.
All right. I got some family from Kansas State. I respect that. I got Duke, Texas Tech, and Tennessee, North Carolina.
All right. So we got the 2 ACC teams in there.
Yeah, we do.
Are we gonna have a potential ACC championship rematch on our hands?
Potentially. Well, let's see. Who do you have? Duke beating Murray State?
John Morant. If you're listening out there, John Morant, I need you to pull through for me on this one. I need you to probably have one of the most exciting Final Four games of all time and show to the world why you should be picked over Zion Williamson. I'm feeling Murray State to the championship
game. Okay. I have Duke, Texas Tech, and I really don't like Duke. Like, I've never been a Duke fan, but they're just so good. And I'm going to go with Duke again to make the championship game because they have this guy named Zion Williamson, apparently.
Apparently, yeah. Unheard of. And for me, I got K-State, UNC. I'm going to throw with UNC since blue is a better shade than purple. But UNC is, in my mind, the better team. I honestly think they should have won the ACC tournament, even with Zion. I think UNC is one of the better teams, and so I can see them moving on to the national championship.
Okay. I have Tennessee and North Carolina, and this is a tough one, man. I really like both of these teams, but I'm going to go with North Carolina.
All right.
I think that they're going to be more ready for this. I think that Tennessee hasn't faced the star power of North Carolina in quite some time. And yeah, I'm going to go with North Carolina against Duke.
I think a lot of people are going to have a very similar national championship game. And I think it's going to be pretty interesting.
Okay.
So for me, I have Murray State, North Carolina, and I think John Morant's luck is finally going to run out.
Okay.
Luke May is going to get the best of him, and I'm feeling UNC in a 75-69 victory.
79-65?
75-69.
75-69, okay. I got Duke and North Carolina, biggest rivalry in college basketball, and I am going to go. I said before the show I thought North Carolina was going to win the national championship, but I think Zion's the difference maker, honestly, and I'm going to go with Duke. And every year, Duke, Coach K, if you're listening out there, every time I pick Duke, they always lose in one of the first rounds. It happened to me when they had Jabari Parker. It happened to me when they lost to Mercer and Lehigh. I'm going to put my faith in you again, and I really hope you don't screw me over. So I'm going to go with Zion Duke over North Carolina in a classic. I'm going to say it's 82-77.
82-77. We got a shootout on our hands in that one.
We do. Roll Blue Devils, I guess.
All right, so that's going to do it for the Shmeedock and Bean Show. Thank you all for listening to us just pick a bracket for an entire hour. I hope it was as exhilarating for you as it was for us. And we'll see you next week. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week.